roll call, and then I've got a flag on my phone. We'll just salute
Hold
the
up your
flag,
phone.
yeah.
Oh, I had Tanya and Carl asked to be excused, I know that. So,
Okay.
So let's see, I've got McDonald,
Here.
Cyrowski is excused, Flood,
Here.
Brakefield.
Here.
Pearson,
Here.
Wapple is excused, Barnett, present, Curtis,
Here.
oh,
Excuse for Chris.
excused for sure. Lori Bergeau, okay, and, in place of Van Kelch, Amber Granger.
Yes.
And Payne,
Here.
okay.
Okay, I guess we'll have respects to the flag. Other veterans besides Ed here. Ed, you lead us?
Where are we looking?
We're
here?
looking
Hold
at
on
the
just a
flag.
second here.
There you go.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance to
allegiance
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Sorry, everybody, we are in the small room because the painters are just finishing up, putting drapes up or the curtains back up, and they're painting the cabinets, taking the doors off, so next meeting will be cleaned all up.
Well, thanks for hosting, as always.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
On the
Okay.
building renovations, oh, I'm sorry, I'll wait and ask that
Yeah, okay.
question.
That would be nice.
I'm sorry.
Go out on a good note, right, Margie? Okay, we have an agenda before us. I don't think there's been any changes since the one that Lynn put out yesterday, so,
Mr. Chairman, I will
Today.
move
Today.
the agenda as,
There was a change
yeah, it
in
was
the
actually
agenda.
today, that's right.
Second.
there is a change or not?
There's a change in them, and I think, can you tell us, it was the two parts that you changed?
Well, we added, yeah, the new positions,
Yes.
and she put under new business, introduction of Amber Granger.
Yes,
Granger.
Granger,
I did
there.
not have the R,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I would move to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the motion?
I'm through with you.
Hearing none. All in favor of approval of the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay. Moving on, we have the minutes from
It's your turn, Ed.
August's meeting. Are there any questions, changes, or corrections? If none, a motion would be in order.
I'll make that motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes, please say aye.
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 Opposed, please say no. Minutes are approved. We have the director's report, and fill us in.
Yeah, I don't know if I won't
You don't have to read
re-say
it,
everything, but,
Yeah.
cover it.
yeah, just wanted to say, obviously, our rides are up again. We've been continuing to increase. We're at almost 9,600 rides in August, which is 109% over last August. And we're still seeing a big expansion in our core area for Orion, Oxford, and Addison. So you can see that this last month we had 6782 in our core area versus 4574 last year. So you can see that the increase is not just in those new expanded areas. We're now at 48 routes. I have included in the packet a building renovation budget that we got from the AKA Steve Auger Architects, who gave us a rough estimate of what the total was, which was about $1.9 million. That's to basically double the office space where we're at on the current Suite A side, and then to also open up Site B and able to put in the drains, the exhaust, the sprinklers in order to make it fire code, because right now we can't bring vehicles into that area until that is done and the fire code is open. And that's why we have those doors in between Suite A and Suite B are locked. So that's part of that. We can go into it more. And the budget amendments for Oakland County actually got passed today. They had the Board of Commissioners meeting. So the 24 budgets got passed. The 25 budgets that I've included with us got turned into them, but it won't get turned into their board probably until November. So I think they start going through their process mid-October. It looks like right now the total budget collected through the millage is about 66 million, and they're about 5 million over. This is the first time we've hit a top. So up until now, no one's hit the top. We've had some extra, so now we have to some looking at, it's gonna happen. So we've all put our requests in, so I'm sure things are gonna have to change, but I just wanna give you guys that overview on that. But the 24 budget amendments were approved today. That includes the Q ride, and an update on the Q ride. We have a meeting with Oakland County next Wednesday. Now that they've approved this budget amendment, we're meeting with Oakland County, which we do every month with all the providers. And if SMART does not have an alternative for us, this free alternative that they were gonna give us by next Wednesday, with a clear plan that we can be up and running in 90 days, I'm gonna tell Q-Ride to go ahead next Wednesday. So we're gonna move ahead. But they did change their contract so that they would let us out after 1 year. So that way, if SMART's currently in the process of looking for a new software, and they said the earliest that they could go through the process would be 1 year. So I had Q-Ride adjust it so that we can be in the new system for a year and then go month by month after that until we get into the new plan. So we're happy with that. And we're gonna be doing a full training day October 5th. That's gonna be another training. We actually have our active shooter coming in training. That's gonna be the first for us. We found, who was it again, Mike? That's
Mike
coming-
Solwall?
Who's coming in to do the active shooter training?
Somebody works with Oxford.
Yeah, forget.
His first name's Gene.
So he's coming in for only $300 and doing the class and doing it on, which is, when we looked at the Alice shooters, it would be $10,000 to have the guy come in. So $300 is a good price. We were happy
And
about that.
that's Oxford, right?
That's
stepping in,
Oxford.
So,
Yes.
thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Curtis.
Thank you for that.
He don't know what
No,
he's
that's a
doing.
village.
That's the
Village.
village.
Oxford Village.
Forget
Okay.
it.
The sheriff's department.
Forget it,
I'm not
Jack.
sure who
No
to
way.
talk to, but.
The sheriff's department wouldn't come in because they do it for free.
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't come?
I don't know, we were told to call this person to come and do that, so if we have another option,
We did mention at the
Um,
meeting to contact the sheriff's department, we'll
Yeah.
discuss that.
yeah,
So
we can discuss that.
Can,
So,
see if they're available on that.
90% of our transportation areas in the sheriff's department area.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't understand who didn't, or who asked the sheriff. Who asked the sheriff's department?
Mike?
No, we reached out to, I think in the email I saw from you guys that, I thought it suggested Oxford, the village
Yeah.
of Oxford, or the township. And so we reached out to the chief at Oxford. He said, oh, we've got a great guy, Gene, and I'm familiar with Gene from my previous years in law enforcement. I was surprised Gene was only gonna be $300, and then my assistant Dave followed up with Gene. Said that.
Well, if nothing else, it's an ongoing situation. You'll have more than one training, so maybe,
Going forward. we
yeah,
can maybe-
going forward, maybe go to try the county, the sheriff's department here in Oxford,
We could do that.
so.
Em and I are gonna be at a business plan workshop next week in Mount Pleasant. It's actually free through Michigan Public Transportation Authority. This is kind of a first time they're doing it. WODA's gonna also be there, and we're hoping at the end, it's a 4-day intensive where you're actually writing the plan while we're there, so we're supposed to be coming out of it with a written business plan. Figured we have a lot of stuff going on, it might be good to spend some time, so we're gonna do that next week. And then I just one of our long-term drivers, Larry King, passed away last week, and had his funeral today, actually. So he's just a very loved member of the community. His wife, Pam King, runs the Lake Orion School Bus Garage, and just a love family. So I just want to give thoughts and prayers to their family. So that's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Any questions for Lynn on her report?
I've got a comment on your budget. Remind Oakland County, we've always been below that limit, and we would have a carryover. So we've got a carryover now,
That's
it's
right.
way in the green. So-
Well,
I don't think it
we've,
works that way.
I think we've been a great transportation provider for Oakland County's program. And if their expectation is that we continue to maintain and improve our routes and standards, then they have to understand we can't do that if they don't fund it. So
Right.
we won't have any, at least I don't believe we will have any reservations if they say here's what you're getting for your 25 budget, and it doesn't meet our needs, we will have to tailor our activities accordingly.
Exactly.
I mean, meanwhile, though, Lynn is looking at every avenue to keep us on track and continue to provide the maximum amount of service we
See,
can.
that's where prayer comes in. We should have said a prayer for you to make it at Oakland County,
We're
which
at-
we will anyway.
We're in a government building.
So what's that got to do with prayer?
Mr. Chairman, I will make a
Okay.
motion to approve, to receive and file
Thank you.
I'll
Lloyd.
second it.
excellent director's report.
Okay,
Okay, we have a motion and a second to receive and file the director's report. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, any public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to the public hearing for truth in budgeting. For the hearing itself, we'll have to go close the regular meeting, open the public hearing, take comment, and then another motion to close the public hearing. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I move to open the public hearing at 4:47 PM.
support.
Who was that?
Support.
Lori? All right. All in favor of the motion? Oh, I think we have to do a
Have a
roll
roll
call.
call, yeah.
Roll call the first time,
McDonald,
yeah. Yes.
Flood,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes?
Pearson,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Granger. Yes. Payne.
Yes.
Okay. We'll now move into public hearing. Does anybody have any comments from the public to address the board? Hearing none. We have a motion to reflect that there was no comment received and that we are going back to regular session.
I move to close the public hearing with no comments.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to return to the regular meeting and close the closed meeting. I think
5:47.
5:40.
Or four.
4:47, pardon me.
4:48.
That was a long public, wasn't it?
That was.
4:48, I got.
Pardon me.
Okay, we'll use 4:48 then. Okay, I don't think we need a roll call to go back into open session, so we'll just, all in favor of the
Aye.
motion to move it back into an open session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, so we're back in our regular session. So, Lynn, do you have any comments on the 2025 NOTA tax rate assessment?
So the first one, A, is just saying that we will not be levying, we'll be levying 0% for our NOTA millage, for our
community.
local communities,
Right.
yes. So that's
Is
the
there a
first
motion
one.
then to that effect by the board?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Who was second?
Marjorie.
Okay, we have a motion and
by
a
a
second
second.
to levy 0% for the local community NOTA tax rate. Are there any questions on the motion? Okay, could we have a roll call, please?
Sure. McDonald,
Yes.
Flood,
Yes.
Brakefield.
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Granger, Payne.
Yes.
Okay, now we have before us the 2025 budget. Lynn has an updated version, which I think we all have now.
Copies. It's just easier to read. I did a summary page with this one. Let's see if you, it should have been on your table here. Yes. So it might be easier, because the way it prints off the computer when you scan it is so small. So I did a summary, so that we have like the categories to summarize our 24 budget versus our 25, to show the difference. And overall, we have an increase that we're requesting of our total that budget for 25 is 11,096,205, which is an increase of 3,054,748, or 38%. Majority of that is due to the increase you can see in the millage revenue that we're requesting from Oakland County. Whereas previously for 24, we requested 5,488,000. In the 25 budget, we're requesting 7,931,000, which is a difference of 2.4 million. That majority is related to the building renovation of 1.9 million, in addition to some increases that we have in our general costs. So that's the big difference with that.
That includes salary and
That
wages?
includes salary and
At 3%,
wages.
an increase, just so everybody's on the same page.
Right, so if
I
you-
read that.
Yeah, so if you look under salary and wages, we do have a salary increase, 3%. We do have a couple new positions, and then we have a 25% increase in our hours of service that I kind of charted out how many routes that we're gonna be doing. We're moving potentially up to 57 would be our maximum. Right now, we go between 47 and 49 routes right now, so we've been adding on routes as needed, and we've been trying to do just short routes in our times that we need, like 5 in the morning till 10 in the afternoon, so we're not doing full days. We've been doing 5-hour shifts just because we're using our part-time people and utilizing that and being a little bit more efficient with it. We're really hoping, once we get this computer system operating, it's gonna make our operations so much more efficient, because right now, having it be manual, we're seeing so many mistakes being made, and because dispatchers just are finding a spot and putting it in, and it may not make sense. We had someone yesterday going from Holly to Leonard. You know, it's like, that doesn't make sense, but
No.
you know, they're so busy and the calls are coming in, and they can't do this. We need we need a system that can help us with those algorithms and make those routes more sense. So we're gonna, I think, see a lot more efficiencies, and I think we'll be able to give a lot more rides, which is what we want, right?
So could I ask a
Yeah.
question? This is, we're talking about accomplishing all these improvements,
Mhm.
expansion, assuming that the county gives us
Right.
this much money.
Exactly.
In failing that, Lynn, what is our option? I mean, I don't see us pushing to expand any more than what we have right now.
Right.
Especially with the increase in salary, wages, and
Mhm.
vehicles.
Right.
Right? I mean, does
So-
that sound reasonable?
So I know we will definitely need to have some expansion, just because we are expanding continuously it's been a continuous expansion every week. We've just seen an uptick in rides. So I know that we want to build in some room for that. We do have some things we might be able to change. I did put in 3 transit vehicles. We could take those out if we have to. So that's something that we could probably live without, because we are going to be getting 6 of the Independence vehicles. So we finalized that deal, so we've got the stuff coming through SMART right now, so I have the contracts, so they are signing over their 6 vehicles, which is helpful. Currently, we have 61 vehicles. We have to give 4 of those back to SMART because they're kind of on loan. They're letting us keep them, and we're kind of keeping them until they tell us we have to return them. So we'll end up with 57. Then we'll have 6 vehicles from Independence, and I had put in 3 to purchase, which would give us 66 at the end of 25. With 57 routes, it's a 16% spare ratio, which you can go up to 20%. So I thought I built that in if we need it. We don't necessarily have to have those extra 3. So that would be something I would definitely cut if I had to go back to that. In addition, in talking about the building improvements, I'm looking at different options on getting funding for that. So we have limitations. There are some federal programs, grants you can apply for, like 5339 for facilities. However, it won't apply to us because we purchased our building with local funds. So the only way you can use federal funds is you have to do all these pre-studies and test the ground and test all this. You have to go through all of these studies before you can even consider using federal funds. And if it's purchased with local dollars, they won't touch it.
Well, the other part of the federal funds thing is then, for the work to be done, you have to pay the
Davis
Prevailing wages.
prevailing wages. That prevailing was the word I was looking
Right.
for. You have to, their book is about that thick on the compliance.
No doubt.
We turned down a huge grant.
Exactly. But there is some money at the state, which is state money, and it can be applied for all year, and there's not like a certain application period. So I'm pursuing possibly getting a portion of it if we can
Are those
covered.
TAP funds?
I
Transportation?
think, yes,
Alternatives,
and it's through, and so I'm gonna check and see if we can apply for that, because I know that MDOT said that there is this block of money that we can apply for.
Have you talked with Chris about SIMCOG? Because
Oh.
that's how we're getting a lot of our grants now, through Chris, because he's connected with SimCog
That's right.
on those TAP funds, so.
Okay,
Might
that's
reach
true.
out to Chris and ask him.
Because we do have the SEMCOG grant that EV grant that
Mhm.
we're gonna be using this year, for we've been waiting with the EV grant because we were hoping to get some longer mileage than what, they currently have. But I can check into that too, because I'm also on the SEMCOG Transportation Council.
Are you familiar with that?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm. So I'm still looking at that, but as an option, because Eli First is like, I just have to say, I'm not sure we're gonna be able to put 2.2 million into you because everyone's asking for buildings, and I don't know how the county's gonna do that. But he's like, I hear you, I know that you need it, because right now, the way that the plan would work, or the way I've got it written, or, I don't know if you can see the actual plan itself with what it would look like, the office area.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it basically would
Here.
add, yeah,
Can't
this
see
area
it.
here, it's hard to see, but the purple area would be the additional area here.
Mhm.
And it would add like 4 offices, a conference room, and then half of it would just be the dispatch center. So we currently have 8 cubicles, we would use our current 8 and then add another 8, so. Because we currently have the 8 dispatch stations, and we have 14 dispatchers, so they're sharing desks right now. And we have, right in the front where the dispatch used to be, we have 4 people up there. We've got Mike, Dave, Ray, the new trainer, and a receptionist. So that's kind of filled in, and then we got Danielle and I in ours, in my office, and then we have Mike's old office we're using as, just to have a quiet place if we need a conference room or training. So we have it set up with a computer to use for training and whatnot, but we're pretty tight with that area. So we definitely need some extra office space.
Well,
But
I think, Lynn, that we're all familiar with that.
Okay.
With what the needs are, and we're aligned with that because we said we're gonna proceed with the renovation of that
Right.
area.
Right.
I think what's of concern to me and others, I'm sure, is if we do all of this despite the county chopping our budget, which, I mean, they've basically said they don't think they can give us as much as we want,
Right.
right? I mean, Eli told you that, in so many words.
So many words. He's hoping that SMART's gonna come down, because he said they're being unrealistic. He's like, if they come down, then we might be able to cover everybody. We'll see how
SMART
that.
has the
right.
support of Southern Oakland County.
Right,
So-
right. But the
And they're
thing
gonna-
is Oakland County pressed us into expansion.
Right.
We didn't ask for
Yeah.
expansion.
And then we
100%.
need leverage, okay?
Right.
If we keep meeting
No,
their
yeah.
needs consistently
I agree.
and putting ourselves out, and potentially, we're not getting the we know we're gonna be doing more training. We know we've gotta upgrade our building and how we process the riders and the drivers and everything. If they have to understand that if they don't fund it, we're not doing it.
Mhm.
At least that should be our first statement every time you start talking with them
Which
about it.
community is the first to go?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes no sense to try and do it any other
Right.
way, and we don't wanna get in any more, have anything more complicated than what we're doing right now,
Mhm.
okay? It's just asking for too much. You won't see software for, what, 60 days?
90
The Q
days.
ride,
Once we
90, I
start,
mean,
to 90 days.
I mean, so, their budget, they budgeted for that with this amendment, with our amendment, so
Mhm.
we'll have that. But we really don't know what, that could result in confusion, or it could be the best thing since sliced cheese
Mhm.
at this point. So, I don't mean to be overbearing, but the county has to hear, not just from us, and you talk with WODA and the other vendors occasionally, I'm sure. This is no time to not draw the line in the sand and say, we've given you everything you wanted under budget. You're the ones that drove us to have to do this expansion and all of that. Otherwise, we can't continue to provide the service that you expect.
Mhm.
So don't think that you can not budget for us and still get everything you want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't like saying that, but that's the bottom line. I don't know that there's a business around that wouldn't have that same attitude. I mean,
Absolutely.
and
So
it's,
you have to operate.
yeah,
Right.
I would say put the money into our infrastructure before we expand anymore. Tell them that we need to
beef up our infrastructure so that we can service people, and then we will expand. But if we say we're gonna expand and we haven't done our infrastructure, of course, it goes on the back burner.
Right, right. We do have some excess funds from 22 and 23, just from our fiscal years, so that's when the Oakland County Transit Tax started in 22. So looking at it from the money that we have, and I included that in the report. So in 23,
Page on, Lynn.
so it's right after the,
Okay,
it's right after
gotcha.
where it shows the picture of the area.
Oh, I got you.
So I highlighted the excess that we had from, so we have like 1,051,000 from 23 and 560,000 from 22. So we have 1.6 million of excess over the last 2 years. So that
Okay.
could potentially
That's
be
what I was
used
talking about, the
towards,
carryover.
this could be potentially used to, for the,
Okay.
that.
And that's
So
already in
right.
our account, so
It's
to
already,
speak.
it's in our
So,
bank account. We're getting
We don't
interest on
want
it.
it, we can't drain it, yeah.
Well,
So-
it's
Okay, some of
their
it.
money. You know, it was county money given to
Yep.
us for our
for our
programs, for our
operations.
programs.
Right.
So,
Okay.
It was
th-
money.
th- I don't think there's.
What about our own fund balance? Do
That's,
we-
it's all part in there, right? So
Oh.
that 1.6 is in our fund balance.
Oh,
So it's in our bank account. Those are monies that are, but I'm just saying that those are funds
but
that
do
came
we have a
from
separate
Oakland County.
amount that is directly from us left
Well,
over?
The assets of the township.
Just
Sure.
the assets,
basically.
we don't
We-
have cash?
We
no.
do, we do,
Okay.
yeah, we do. So I don't know what our total fund balance is. So it would be 1.6 less would be, the rest would be ours. So our fund balance, I have it here. We have like 6.3 in retained earnings. That includes our assets, but I'd have to look at, our total cash is 3.2 right now, 3.2
Okay.
million.
Okay.
So half of it would be technically
All right,
county and
so we
half
have
would be
something
ours.
to work with.
We do.
Okay.
So I thought we potentially could say we would do half, they would do half, so then it would be, 900,000, and still keep some of that is,
Mm-hmm.
what I thought maybe potentially we could come back with and negotiate if we can, because I feel like we have a 1.6 million of their money anyways that we haven't spent, from
But
previous
it's always nice
years.
to have that rainy day fund.
Without a doubt, I don't wanna
But-
give it all away,
Yeah,
that's why I
exactly,
thought
no.
maybe we
Yeah, we
can,
don't wanna,
Yeah,
so.
and that's why we have to
Yeah.
Exactly.
draw the line on where the line is.
Right,
I
Right.
mean,
right.
if
Right,
God love her, Lynn and Mike and the NODA team are doing everything they can with what
Right.
we've given them and the county has given them. But we are pretty adamant about not spending the assets of the,
Oh, without a doubt.
of the NODA organization
right.
on things that won't benefit us directly necessarily. That's the
Right.
bottom line.
Yeah.
I would just remind them who sits at this board, what communities sit here, what communities are gonna take the hit. And we're only in those other ones because of them.
Right.
right.
In our budget, did we address maybe having the county take over our insurance?
No,
We're all afraid that's gonna
right.
become an issue Lynn,
Yeah,
with
it's
the
gonna be.
accidents and everything
Right,
that we're,
right.
the court cases and that,
right,
so.
right. So, right now we're still with MMRMA, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of a highlight of the budget. What else was I gonna say?
Well, does
We have
any-
another increase related to it was that we have 35 more full-time, because compared to last year, that's because now we're over 50 employees, and so now everybody over 30 hours or more are full-time, so we're just fell into this thing. So it's a big year of a hit, I feel like from now on, it's gonna be a little bit less, I think we're plateauing now, we're not gonna see a big increase like we did in this last year, but it is a big hit, and plus this time we have sick time that we had to build in, so I built in the sick time of 1 hour for every 30 hours worked for the part-time people, so that's included in there. Yeah, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
question.
Oh.
Does anybody have anything else, or we can?
Are we looking for a motion to approve this, budget?
Right,
Is one more question.
this is what we're sending
Okay.
to
Right.
I will make that
Oakland
motion to
County.
approve the,
Okay,
2025, budget.
With revenues and expenses
yes.
at, I know it's 11 million, right?
$11,096,205.
Yeah, that.
It
Second.
hurts, okay, I was
Okay.
gonna say it hurts, but I'll second it.
Well, I think Margie made
I
it.
had to comb
Okay.
through this really good.
You know, we're moving pretty fast, and so, Amber, are you okay with everything? Do you understand?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot to take in the first time, but
No,
if you
I'm
do
good.
have a question or need some information, now or after the meeting is
Absolutely,
fine.
happy to meet with
Okay.
you.
Don't be shy, I already called Lynn, I said, I need help. Help me."
I'm
That's the
very
way to do
familiar
it.
with budgets
Right.
and
Okay,
P&Ls,
so we have a motion and a second to approve the 2025 budget at the amount stipulated of $11,096,205. Could we have a roll call in for approval of that?
Sure. McDonald,
Yes.
Flood,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes,
Pearson,
Yes,
Curtis,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Granger,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right, we'll move on then to the architect's estimate of the building renovation. Go ahead, this is you again, Lynn.
It's
Sorry.
all built into the budget. I kept it as a separate line item in
Oh.
case anybody had anything they wanted to talk about it separately. If not, we don't.
Right.
I mean, it's just
Well-
an estimate.
Well, basically, then we'll ask you, are you satisfied with what we've
Yep.
got with the architect done?
I
don't know.
think, yeah, yes, he was very responsive, I have to say. The last time we had him, I didn't have the same experience. He's been wonderful. He's got right back and got back
Okay.
to us, and
Did he give you a cost breakdown per everything, or is that just a,
it was just this estimate that we received,
Yeah.
so that was this page here.
yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like the big ticket items is your exhaust, your sprinklers, you know,
Right.
it's the
Right.
renovation of the,
Which are really critical to the operation. It's
Yeah.
not
Exactly.
something we
Exactly.
cannot
Yeah.
Can't
function
do it
without
without
it.
Exactly.
No, no.
What is this blue section? Is that,
Oh, there's a little office over there, so we're not gonna really change that. It's, either gonna be, if we get a mechanic in there, it'll be a
It'll be a
mechanic's
mechanic
office
office.
or just a driver's room kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, it's got walls and some windows. We'll probably paint it. It has a little kitchen in there. It's functional. It's nothing fancy, but it's functional.
and the conference room is big enough to be a boardroom again?
Yes, I think it's about the size of this.
again,
Oh,
Oh,
you know
really?
what? We're getting our kitchen back.
Oh,
Oh,
So if we
really?
do that, we'll have our kitchen back and we'll have, yes,
Okay.
so we'll get the kitchen, so.
good.
You want a motion to receive and file?
all right, one question.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember, what did we pay for the building? 1.1?
1.1.
And then we put how much?
About 500,000.
500,000, and then
Right.
we're gonna put 1 point
I know, it's,
into this, and then we did the
Parking
parking
lot.
lot and the tanks.
But we've been collecting rent
Pardon?
also. We've been
And we
collecting
were-
rent.
It was offset a little bit by rent.
Yeah,
Little
yeah,
bit.
very low, yeah. But I'm just saying, are we up to date on our insurance and everything on this? Cause we
Oh, yeah.
have
That's big.
a lot of money.
an awful lot, and are we gonna be able to, if we ever do go defunct, can we get our money out of this place?
Well, that's, Mike and I were talking about it too, we're like, oh, what, right now, cause our tenants said that they would give us 3 million for the building, you know, as is, and I'm thinking, well, does that make sense to sell it and buy some other place that I don't know, but we have so much into it now, I just don't know what the other option would be, so, you
Well,
know.
it's a good size, and where else, and
It's got
potentially
decent
low
access
ca-
to
ca-
the
yeah.
main
Yeah.
arteries.
You know, it's a
that
little
we're
bit
serving.
north side. I mean, now that we've expanded on the west, you know,
Right.
it's not totally central to our location. I kind of really like the idea of the Orion Center because that was a little bit more central. Even though it didn't have the garage, we'd have to build a garage, but it had more land. You could have more options. You're kind of landlocked where we're at. There's no.
But we still kept a lot of land for us.
Oh, you did. Oh,
that-
from the school.
For that
that-
trail back there. All that trailhead is still ours.
Ah, okay, all right.
There's not as much land
Because
as
we
there
were
was.
coveting that spot.
I know what spot you're talking about. But to answer Bruce's question, are we updated with our insurance on that?
We're updated. Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
okay.
Yes.
Adequate coverage.
Okay.
At the minimum, yeah.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
I mean, but you are still planning on maybe another site also to run, so.
We just don't know,
So we have an estimate, 1.9 million.
right?
Do you need a motion from us then to, I mean, are we essentially saying we're gonna proceed with the renovation subject to available funding, basically, right?
Right.
so moved.
Okay.
But we're not draining our we have how much
No,
in
the subject
reserve?
to available funding, that's
Yeah,
only,
right, so we
yeah.
don't wanna
cover
drain
the-
our
Right.
money
Right.
out.
Yeah, we're not making a commitment right
That's
now.
what Lynn's gonna be getting
No.
Oakland County. We need
Yeah.
more money, so
1.6 million
I'll
is
second it,
what-
Mike.
We have 1.6 that we had extra in the county, we have 3.2 in the bank.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the architect's, yes, Mr. Curtis.
If you take 1.9 million from the county and invest it in the NODA building, whose building is it?
Notice.
No, it was, because I think they're, yeah.
All right, when the county says, okay, we're gonna move you somewhere else, we're gonna get rid of you, we owe them 1.9 million
No, we've
We
had
lose the
that
building.
conversation before in the
with your
past.
attorney.
I'm gonna say, this looks like a legal thing here. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
taking 1.9 million of somebody else's
Right.
money and investing it into our community's asset.
I think what,
Our asset currently today is worth 1.5. You're gonna take county money of 1.9 and add it in there. They got 51% of the building that's owed to them. That's my question.
The only good thing is it's our own money that we collected here anyhow in our areas that we put into it, so that would be a good argument too.
Well, I wouldn't wanna stand in front of a judge and have Mike or
Yeah.
Dave Woodward say, well, we gave you 1.9 million of Royal Oak, Ferndale, Southfield, Independence, Groveland's money to build this building.
Yeah,
Now that you're out, we're gonna move it over here. Your building's worth 2 million.
we already know.
We're taking 1.9 of it back.
Lynn's already, I mean, Lynn explored that, and we got a 3 million, we were offered 3 million for it without putting it, doing a market analysis. That's one way to look at it, is we're still ahead of the game as far as what we have in the building.
It's just a question.
If we look back,
Well, does maybe a township that has an attorney on retainer could ask that question for their interest, that might answer for all of us.
I can
What I
ask
think
Bob.
is, what I think is, they're putting more money into your building. They're gonna be the major capital shareholder in that building.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a really good point.
And we have talked about it in the past, but that's why I'm saying, instead of just talking about it, if one of our member communities has access to legal services, we could certainly benefit from the response on how it might affect your investment in NODA, and therefore the rest of the communities wouldn't have to do the same thing.
Well,
Just putting it out there.
so let's look at the flip side of this. If we choose not to take county money to do the expansion, it would take us down pretty far, but it wouldn't clean us out.
it's actually, 1.6 is already in the bank from the county, they didn't really give it to us for the building, so you could technically, use 1.6.
Use that
that's-
1.6 for
was in
the
the fund
operating
balance.
budget.
Right, and
See, right now, we're acting as a contractor to, or a
Yeah.
subcontractor to
Right.
the county.
we are.
Yep.
Now, if the county puts investments into our asset and they elect to choose another supplier.
Yeah.
Okay, I want
Let's
my money
vote
back.
this
Well, I
one
think-
down and I'll rework the motion.
What did our original contract say? Didn't it say every vehicle we buy is ours?
Mm-hmm.
And so even though we're using their money, it's ours. It said the building is ours. So even though we're using their money, it's ours. That was in the original contract with them. It was
The only
made.
exception was the smart vehicles. That-
Right, it's true.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
So I
a good
thought the
point.
contract was really clear on the
The building.
physical assets, but it's not. Doesn't hurt to double check.
Well, let's to keep this process moving. Margie has suggested that we vote down her motion, and then she'll offer a different version of.
Can we do that since we technically already approved the budget and it was on the
Oh,
budget?
Yeah, it's true, it was already in there.
Oh, well, then let's
Well-
just approve the
I mean, we have to
motion.
spend it.
We can.
Well, in the
Yeah, that's true. You could
How come
re-amend the
nobody's jumping
budget.
up and down and
And we
saying,
probably
okay,
will
I'll
have
talk
to.
to our attorney, our community attorney, and see
Yeah, that's the.
get their take on it. That shouldn't stop us. None of this is gonna happen in the next 3 months.
No?
So,
Okay,
cause it's 25 budget.
It's 25 budget.
So,
yeah.
and they're not gonna write us a check, if they're not gonna write us a check for it, it'll be even longer.
Yeah,
So
we
let's
just won't
just
be doing it.
approve the,
Yeah.
let's just go ahead and
Yeah.
approve the motion and
Okay,
Okay.
call it all, yeah, and then you guys can check with
Yeah.
the, attorney. You know, I know both Orion and Oxford have an attorney
well,
firm, same attorney firm.
do we want to, we're not asking for every community to
I
do
can,
No,
I can ask
no.
our NODA attorney.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
can have
Okay,
them.
if it's not too expensive,
He's not too bad.
okay.
It's worth it.
All right, well, I'd like to call a vote on the architect estimate for the building renovation, which essentially means we plan on moving forward with it in the next budget year. Could we have a roll call, please? Lynn?
Who seconded that motion? You
Ed
made-
Brakefield.
Ed, okay, all
Reluctantly, he did.
right, all right. McDonald,
Yes.
Flood,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Granger, yes, Payne.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Ooh, we got through it. All right,
That's a
next
big
item. Approval of financial activity. Is there a motion on that? Receive and file?
Move to receive and file.
second.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the financial activity information.
And
All in
numbers say
favor
those
of,
words.
wait a minute. Yeah, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Okay, motion carried. We have approval of the bills, which in the amount of, am I correct?
116,986.
986. Yeah.
I move to approve the bills at 116,000.
It's your last time, Margie.
I know, 116,986.60.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve
That's why I
paying
never
the
do
bills
that
for
Usually
August.
do it.
All in favor, or
Jinxed
better
you.
do a roll call.
Okay, McDonald,
Yes.
Flood,
Yes.
Brakefield,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Granger, yes, Payne.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We're paying the bills. We have nothing under old business. Under new business, I guess we'd like to introduce ourselves to our newest member representing Mork and the Easter Seals, and that's replacing Ann Kelch. And allow me on behalf of the board to welcome Amber Granger to
Welcome.
our
Welcome.
board.
Thank you.
And if we want to go around the table real quick, we can say our name and who we represent so that she knows. We'll start with Lori.
I'm Lori Bourgeau with the Village of Oxford for one more month.
Oh, are you done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. Me
Job's
too.
too demanding.
Life is too demanding.
I mean, my real job.
I'm Jack Curtis, Oxford Township Supervisor.
I'm Mike Flood, trustee of
Orion.
South Oxford.
You're going to confuse her.
I'm in Orion, don't say
You know what I'm talking about.
Lower Oxford. Lower Oxford.
Okay.
Lower Oxford, that's right.
That's fine.
And
I'm Marty Payne, trustee for Oxford Township, for one more month.
Ed Brakefield, trustee, Addison Township.
Bruce Pearson, Addison Township Supervisor.
Mike McDonald, we introduced.
Yeah,
I introduced myself. Of course, you know, Len, and this is Mike. He's our operations manager
Oh, hi.
for NODA. He's got Lynn's back when we're not around. So, okay, and welcome again. Thank you.
If you pick on Lynn, he's got transportation outside the door for you.
Okay, moving on then to B, which is Lynn's recommendations, and they are built into the budget we just approved. Although it starts now,
We're starting.
we'll use what we can cover it with the existing budget at the moment.
Right.
A full-time lead trained position. His name's Ray Hammond. I think she mentioned him sometime back when he first came. He came from GM, didn't he?
GM,
And-
Ford, also
Okay.
worked for Micah. He's had a lot of great experience. And a
But
lot of-
it's one of the full-time
Sounds like you
positions.
can't hold a job.
Can't hold it down a job.
I wish he had a set vacation, but we wanted him to start as soon as possible because we really think his skills are going to come. So otherwise, I'd have him come to the board. So we'll have him come next month so you guys can meet him. He's
Both of these items are pretty much the same thing. They're new positions. We're not refilling an old position. They're new. And we can talk about the creation, why we needed them, because as you can read in Lynn's reports, what we were doing with the lead driver concept, having 10 drivers that would be the umbrella, so the spokes of the umbrella, and then all the drivers would come to their team leader when they had problems, questions, whatever. It wasn't working out, correct? I mean, that was
Right, because they had full routes, so all those 10 lead drivers were busy doing their routes. So we were following the model that WODA had used, so we thought we would try it. It just didn't seem to be as successful because we weren't finding that they had the time to help with the things that we really needed. So I really wanted to make 2 full-time people and have the same person every day, Monday through Friday in the morning, one in the afternoon, so people know who to go to, who to count on. And dispatch, since they've been so busy, they've been filling the on-call position. So I'm asking them to keep them open. We'll have our routes, but then we want to keep the on-call open except for emergencies, and then they can help like deliver vehicles for maintenance. Right now Mike and Dave are doing that. I would rather have Mike in the office helping and overseeing stuff instead of transporting vehicles to get oil changes and repairs and whatnot. So that's I think this is going to be a big help for us, and then having Ray be the lead trainer, I think, is also a key position, because it's not just about the initial training. We had also, I don't know, we had over 50 some employees this year that we hired. We're not going to have that next year, but what we want to have is a set training program. He's all about process. He's about creating process and communicating. He's done a lot of training. He's going to be at our October 5th kickoff. That's when we're going to kind of introduce the whole concept. And then we're going to do continued training. So I want to do even, weekly, like send outs like we do with our social media, but like reminders. Mike, we did a video, the 2 of us kind of showing the wheelchair issue that that happened. Like there's a strap that you can put along the lift, and if it's not used, and what the differences between. So like I'm sure there's going to be things that he can send out. And also I want to have ride-alongs with drivers, so at least quarterly where he's driving along with them personally, and so we're going to try to build that into it. So that's, I think, going to be a great addition to our training program.
Cool.
Yes, Mike.
2 questions. First, what's your date that you want this to be started?
So
Start date
technically
on-
he's been a driver. We had him start full-time, was it last Monday? Was it last Monday?
Well, there's no, there would be with that. Is his current wage what he's getting now, or is this gonna be a wage increase?
Just when it's a $28 an hour is his, so the hours that he's, how are we doing it? We're doing it hourly right now.
Is he hourly right now, or are you gonna make it
So
salary?
we have $28 for the hours that he's learning the training, and $21 when he's driving. I think he's done driving
He's
now.
done.
So now when he comes back from vacation, he'll be full-time salary at that $28 range.
So what-
He
So
understands that that's
So what's your
we'll
start
see
date?
how he works out. I mean,
Yeah.
this isn't.
And that's what we
he's-
told him. We said
okay.
this is a model that we're working with. And
I just ask, if we do,
Is it going to be when he comes back then? Is it Wednesdays that he comes
usually you
back?
do a start date, or?
Yes. Good idea.
Well, officially, it's gonna be today,
Yeah, let's
because
do that.
we're
All right.
we're creating the positions.
Today's
Okay,
nine
Lynn?
That sounds good.
9/19,
Yeah,
then, right?
that's
Got any
good.
objections, Mike?
No, sir.
Okay.
That would be great.
So
And then,
let's just,
second question was, you want 2 separate motions?
I don't think so, as long as they cover the new positions, because
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
These 2 would be all one motion, then.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
That's my
I
question.
mean, it's entirely up to the board. So is there any questions for Lynn or maybe me, Ed?
No, I'm good.
I had said, you cannot have enough training because of the situation we're discussing a little later in closed session.
Right.
You need that training to prevent that from happening.
It's a culture thing.
Exactly.
Everybody has to know that, yeah, sometimes having to do the safety exercises are, to seem pointless, but if everybody's doing it and they're all getting the same message, from the trainers, and they're gonna be monitored, which I think is huge. The ride-alongs
And
are
you'll do
are an absolute
documentation, you'll do
must.
documentation too, because documentation is everything when you're in a
Right.
court session.
Without a doubt.
It's called
Yeah.
vicarious liability.
You got it.
Hey, just for the
It moves up the
clarification,
top.
Mike had asked, he's, right now, last week, he was making 21 an hour, cause he's a driver. Now he's
Right.
gonna be 28,
Yes,
so he will be getting a pay raise.
right.
And that's what you would ask, Mike, was he
Yes.
getting a pay raise?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, so he'll be
Sorry.
getting a,
and it will be starting effective today if.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Agreed.
Okay, is there a motion then to,
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Brakefield?
Second.
I'll, s-
Good. Serves you right,
We have a
Flood.
motion and a
you
second.
didn't read all of it.
To
You're supposed read it
authorize,
all.
to authorize the positions of full-time lead trainer position and 2 full-time operations and driver support, at the amounts stipulated, $28 an hour and 25, or, what are the full-time operations and driver support people?
$25 an hour.
Okay, 25 an hour,
Effective 9/19/24.
okay. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Sure. McDonald,
Yes.
Flood,
Yes,
Brakefield.
Yes?
Pearson,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Granger,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Okay, okay, we're gonna go into closed session briefly to update the, board. NOTA board is returning to session, open session after leaving closed session on a motion and, support, and a voice motion. So we'll move into, the next, is there anything from the board at this point before we move into the next item?
Did you want to make a motion?
Is there any
you
action
go
or
ahead.
anything?
I have no motion.
oh,
There's nothing I
well,
want to say.
Bruce, what do you think, Bruce? We should do something here to, some
Well, I
kind of
think
direction.
I'd like to make a motion that we contact our attorney and have them look into our hiring practices so that another incident, if we ever have one, may not happen the way this one happened. And let's see if we're gonna be in guidance with the federal law of deciding who we can hire as far as a driver. I know there's age limits, but there should be something that we should have a policy on.
I'll support the motion.
Okay. Well, okay, we got a motion, so. Anybody got any points, questions on the motion?
Can
If
it,
not,
should it be amended to include to discuss further, how we further proceed with the incident? I mean,
No, I
right now
don't
we're
think-
just, okay,
No, I don't think that would be proper, given that we've not had any feedback from the victims, the plaintiffs.
Or until we get
or the
It may come down the road.
But I was-
direction from our
I was wondering,
attorney.
Yeah.
could we broaden the motion a little bit to allow Lynn to contact an HR,
I was gonna say,
an HR firm that we've used, I guess?
and the attorney.
I will add
And the
that to my
attorney,
motion
yeah.
that either contact legal or
And/or,
HR that we've
yeah.
used in the past to find out what other companies do when
Yeah, what can
when
we
you're
do
talking
to
about a
address-
chauffeur's license transporting.
In broad terms, they
People.
don't need to,
Yeah.
the HR doesn't need to know anything about the incident itself, just where our concerns lie.
I mean,
Is that enough?
I know that you're not having engineers on a train at a certain age, and
Yeah.
you're not having pilots at a certain age,
Yeah.
and you're not having Secret Service agents at a certain age. And
Or firefighters. Or
Correct.
police.
Teamsters might be that way too. There might be something in there.
Correct, when
I
you're
think
driving.
Or
over
truck,
CDLs.
drivers,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll amend
Okay.
my second.
Okay, so we have, we have an amended motion by Pearson and Flood to contact the attorney and/or human resources provider that we're acquainted with.
You
to-
can add in there maybe and supervisors, they might wanna cut them off at a certain age too.
Certain age for supervisors,
Whoa.
45 years
I
old.
think we'd both be in trouble.
Can we take a vote on that now? Bruce?
Well,
Okay.
Jack is older than me.
Okay,
Is it?
so, this will likely involve an
Wow, you
expense.
look great.
At least we know it will for our attorneys. Maybe we can get an HR opinion on what we need to do.
Please.
Broad form. And then, Lynn and the administration can come back to us for the next meeting and update us on if there's some step that we should take officially to retain a HR person for reviewing our, we just had a review, so I can't imagine that there's all that much.
Well, this
But
would
we
address
have
Amber's, wanting to update the policy and stuff too.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Short of running a mile in less than 4 minutes or something.
Yeah.
like that.
Exactly.
Maybe there's something.
Exactly.
Okay, so could we have a roll call for approval of the motion?
McDonald?
Yes.
Flood?
Yes.
Wakefield?
Yes,
Pearson?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Bordeaux?
Yes.
Granger?
Yes.
Payne?
Okay,
Mike, I've got a question.
yes, Ed.
If there was an age that they came to 70, I'm just doing that number, will it affect drivers you have on right now?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
they're all
yeah.
retirees.
So
It's primarily,
you've got to be careful because you might wipe out NODA if he says, well, okay, you need to draw the line at 75.
Well, we should know that, though. I mean, if there
Yeah.
is language or law that addresses this, we need to know whether there is or
I
isn't.
know, but
So
that
we'll
might
learn a lot.
hurt a
But
lot
your
of
point's-
drivers.
Your point's
I just
taken.
went to the web, and the requirements for a CDL is you have to be over 16.
That's it?
And if you find a driver you feel not competent, you can request the Secretary of State to do a driver evaluation. There's no age limit on acquiring a CDL or a chauffeur's license.
Oh, chauffeur.
Yeah.
Is there a CDL?
Thank you,
That's
Jack.
something to
Well,
think
did you see
about.
one for CDL?
But we need to, we still have to address.
That's fine,
and,
that's
and,
fine.
and we
because
have
that's not
had
what we have.
instances where, people were concerned about driving, and we did do drive-alongs, you know, when we had our lead drivers, and they did do and try to assess to see.
Yeah, if you, in other words, if
We-
you
we
get
did drive
feedback
along to
from
try
a
to get-
customer.
we did.
But it's
But it's
not
hard.
just the driving.
Right.
It's the reaction time, it's the physical limits.
Right.
I mean, everybody says, oh,
Right.
you can pick up 50 pounds, but, you know, are they gonna stand on one leg or something for, you know, like a normal person and stand on another one or walk heel to toe? I'm talking as arresting drunk drivers, but I'm just saying that there's certain things that when you get to be an elderly person, you
Sure.
can't do.
That's right.
And
Don't ask us why we
Handled through
know
a
that.
physical. Lisa.
Well,
But
and
no,
I would say
we-
reaction time is probably,
Concentra
to
or
me, the
somebody.
number one consideration
Well,
about
and there's
age.
positional,
You can't tell me
Sign a
you haven't
contract
seen
with
your own
Concentra or
reaction time.
somebody like
Oh,
that,
no.
who does your
I
drug
mean,
test,
picking
and
up
they have
50
to do an
pounds is
actual
one test, but
physical
there's
as
many
well.
more
We
tests
can
that
do physicals.
should be
I-
done.
if you just add a physical to your hiring,
The physical, we could add physicals too,
to your drug test,
right? They have them up there.
and they do
Oh, you
reaction, they
don't do
do,
pre-hire
We
physical?
don't have to do full physicals.
CDL doesn't,
Yeah,
is the
where
only one that
chauffeurs
But,
does
requires.
it.
okay,
CDLs.
but just now that you're having full-time, so many full-time people,
Right.
it seems like.
Right,
Well,
Every
and,
once in
especially
one or 2
since
years.
They're
Yeah.
all people of a certain age.
right.
HR will help out tremendously.
what we
Yeah.
wanna talk to HR and the
Yep.
attorney about.
Can
They'll
I-
have all that.
Can I ask something kind of backwards, and it goes into this org chart and what we've been talking about? How many employees do we have now? Did you say like 100?
115?
So it feels to me like this org chart should also look at hiring HR in-house. That's
Well,
my opinion.
that's something I could look, cause I'm looking for an accountant slot, like potentially we could get an accountant, administrator to come
Yeah.
help with those, cause I've not,
Yeah,
Okay.
just get somebody.
Okay, so you have your direction from the board, Lynn.
okay, thank you,
And if you have any questions or need assistance,
All right.
I'd be happy to help.
thank you.
Okay, moving on to, next item, if no one has an objection. Public comments. Hearing none, we'll move on to, receiving and filing the monthly rider and mileage reports.
Move to receive and file monthly rider and mileage reports.
Second.
Motion and second to do so.
He woke
All in
him up.
favor- All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Board member comments? Jack, you're an island. Anything?
I have none.
Okay, Mike?
Want to congratulate you and Margie too
Yeah.
for the service you've done.
Yes, and thank
And
you.
Thank you so much, and
We're not
enjoy,
done yet. We have one more.
well, enjoy your retirement.
We will. We will.
No, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That's it.
Nothing.
Very productive meeting. Very.
Mhm.
That's what we're here for.
Yep.
Mr. Pearson?
I have nothing, I think I've said enough.
Myself as well.
Just thank you all for your warm welcome. Oh, happy to be
No.
here. Thank you.
I think we got everybody, right?
No, you skipped me.
You know-
Oh,
Oh,
No,
Lord.
one more.
You skipped me.
Michael.
Oh,
Michael.
I'm sorry, Lori.
That's all right. I was just gonna say if you're running, and like I am not, or if you're running opposed, I suggest you tell somebody about the NOTA meetings. When I was voted in, I had no clue when they were, where they were, who to contact. So
But now,
just every election cycle.
Thank you for that, Lori.
You
Appreciate
might
it.
mention that at council level too.
Yeah, yeah.
That, you know,
I'm
a
going
little more
to.
training for the new trustees and council members is what's really needed because people are thrown in.
Yeah,
It's
everybody
upset.
should go back to your council meetings and say the same thing, because it doesn't seem to happen.
write that down.
I will make a motion, we adjourn.
At
Support.
time.
At
Aye.
5 till 6.
Aye.
Aye.
5:55.